Brainiacs! Today we're going to be learning about the Apollo 13 mission. Apollo 13 was launched at 2:13 p.m. on April 11th, 1970. And you may realize that's today. Today is the 50th anniversary of Apollo 13. This Apollo mission landed on April 17th, 1970. 3 people were in the Apollo 13. Veteran Commander James Lovell, Fred Haise, and John Swigert. James became the world's most traveled astronaut when he decided to join the Apollo 13 mission. He was 42 when he was known for this. Apollo 13 was NASA's third moon landing mission, but none of the 3 astronauts actually touched the moon. This was caused by an explosion in the oxygen tanks located in the service module. NASA didn't know that Apollo 13 was launched with the makings of a bomb on board. When Swigert went to start the gyroster, a damaged wire began a spark. This was unnoticed. The spaceship was losing its power life-sustaining resources very fast. The damaged oxygen tank made 2 out of 3 fuel cells to shut down. Now the spacecraft was flying without its main source of electricity and water. When the mission control saw this, they had to give up the journey to the moon. Now they just had to get enough resources to get them back to Earth. A flight controller, Cy Liebergott, had the unpopular idea to isolate the surge tank. He had a small amount of oxygen that the crew would need for re-entry. If they did this, the crew would need to power down every system in the command service module. This makes the spacecraft inhospitable. The lunar module would also have to be used as a lifeboat. It was not the best solution because they had 3 people and more than 90 hours to go. The lunar module had only room to support 2 people, and for only 48 hours. This was the crew's only option if they were going to get back home and survive. They then would have to power up the lunar module. They should have used electricity from the CSM, Command Service Module, but they couldn't use that, of course. About hundreds of thousands kilometers away, the lunar module had to figure out how to hotwire the spacecraft by using diagrams. These red things are the big batteries. They are also in the descent stage. They relied on the electricity from the switch in the command module, which is green. The controllers had instructed the 3 astronauts to give the electricity from the Lunar Excursion Modules, or LEMs, smaller ascent batteries, which are tan, to the Power Distribution System, which is blue. The only problem was, NASA still hadn't figured out how they would get home. And this explosion happened about 300,000 kilometers away from Earth. No one could tell if the service module's propulsion system was damaged or not. So the mission control settled to use the moon's gravity. This can guide the spaceship to Earth. Apollo 13 was not a free return trajectory. This means that the spacecraft would not hit Earth. It would probably miss Earth by thousands of kilometers. To get back into the right lane, it would need a big push. The push would come from a small engine in the lunar module, descent stage. Usually, the mission control uses software to find out the length and duration of the engine burns that were needed to make a given trajectory. The thing was, no one had planned for the LEM's descent engine to fire when it was still connected to the CSM. This made the engineers make new calculations that were on the spot. Fun fact, This was all done without a navigation system. Because of the lack of power they had, the astronauts had to share the location using sun, stars, and Earth's terminator. And Earth's terminator is a thing that separates night and day. These 3 astronauts were suffering from a fatal buildup of carbon dioxide, but don't need to worry. The mission control solved this problem with duct tape. The astronauts had not slept in days. They were losing water, and the spacecraft was 3 degrees Celsius, 37 degrees in Fahrenheit. Ignoring everything else, they had to power up the command module. The crew would have to do this blind. Because the damaged service module wasn't helping anymore, they released it into space. When they also got to see the damaged part for the first time, one astronaut said, "There's a whole side of that thing missing." Soon enough, they had to let go of their life-saving lunar module. Another astronaut said, "Farewell, Aquarius, and we thank you." The crew was almost back to Earth, but things could still go wrong, such as if the command module's heat shield broke in the oxygen tank explosion, the 3 astronauts would burn up. Or if any of the parachutes wouldn't work or freeze, they would hit the ocean hard. The crew members just hoped and trusted the mission control that they would get another dream come true. A crew member said something to the mission control. "I know all of us here want to thank you for all you guys down there, for a very fine job you did." The world waited to know when the spaceship entered Earth's atmosphere. They all held their breath and waited silently for the next 3 minutes. Mission Control said, "Odyssey, Houston, we show you on the mains. It really looks great." About 6 days of no sleep, the crew members made it safely back to the ground. Everyone was so happy, but NASA still had to figure out how the bomb got attached, and to make sure it never happened again. Thanks for learning about Apollo 13 with me, and make sure to teach others about them too. Stay healthy!